Welcome back to Zodiac Legends, the myths written in the stars. The podcast where we uncover the myths, legends, and cosmic histories hidden within the constellations. Today, we travel into one of the most radiant regions of the Milky Way, the realm of the Archer. This is the story of Sagittarius, the 10th sign in the zodiac. Known today as a centaur drawing his bow, Sagittarius is more than just a mythic archer. He is a symbol of change, of light overcoming darkness, and a guardian of celestial secrets stretching back over 5,000 years. In the brilliant belt of stars that neighbors Scorpius, Sagittarius holds his place, poised, alert, and eternally aiming. But this wasn't always his form. In the ancient skies of Persia, the stars of Sagittarius were simply known as Kaman, the bow. In Turkey, they were called Yay, in Syria Keshta, and in the Hebrew tradition, Kesheth. All of these names point to the same ancient image, not a centaur, but a sacred bow and arrow suspended in the heavens. Even in the Chaldean skies, it was Kertko, the archer's sacred weapon. In India, over 3,000 years ago, these stars formed the image of a horseman, a warrior. Later, they came to be known as Dhanus, which also means the bow. Egypt too saw different meanings in these stars. Initially representing the graceful ibis bird, the constellation eventually transformed in the zodiac of Dendera into a lion-faced archer. And to the Chinese, these stars once embodied the fierce and noble tiger. Such diversity speaks volumes of the archer's deep, mythic roots. But despite all these forms, one truth remains. Sagittarius marks the moment where darkness begins to retreat. Since around 300 AD, the northern winter solstice, the darkest time of the year, has fallen within Sagittarius. And from that point onward, the days begin to lengthen again. The archer, it seems, has always pointed toward hope. Let's now turn the clock back 5,000 years. Imagine this: as the spring sun set in Taurus, the stars of Sagittarius rose in the east. In the Assyrian royal standard, an archer, Sagittarius, is depicted standing over a bull. This image wasn't just symbolic, it was cosmic. The archer represented Ahura Mazda, the light bringer and god of wisdom. His twin, Ahriman, a dark figure associated with chaos, was symbolized by Taurus, the bull. As Sagittarius rose, he would chase the bull into the underworld, just as the forces of good would drive back the shadows of night. Yet this duality also gave rise to a deeper transformation. Originally drawn as a hybrid figure, half man, half bull, the archer would eventually morph into a centaur, half man, half horse. And here, myth began to solidify. The idea of the centaur may have emerged from a cultural collision. When early horseback warriors arrived in regions unfamiliar with horses, they must have looked otherworldly, like creatures with the torsos of men and the legs of animals. Centaurs, beings of wild nature and primal wisdom, were born in the minds of those who witnessed them, and among them, one centaur stood apart, Chiron. In Greek mythology, Sagittarius is often identified with Chiron, the kindest and wisest of all centaurs, a healer, a teacher, and a friend to the gods. His fate, however, was tragic. One day, Hercules, parched with thirst, drank from a sacred jar of wine belonging to the centaurs. They attacked in rage. Hercules fought back, and in the confusion struck Chiron with a poisoned arrow. By accident. Immortal, Chiron could not die. But the pain was unbearable. In mercy, Zeus allowed him to pass, and honored him by placing him among the stars. Thus Chiron the archer watches over us, still. But there is another tale. Crotus, son of the wild god Pan and the muse's nurse Eupheme, is also linked to this sign. Crotus was a paradox, a skilled hunter who adored the arts, raised by the muses and beloved for his cheer. His applause invented clapping, and his love of poetry shaped legend. Sagittarius, then, becomes a bridge between the wildness of nature and the refinement of inspiration. Look up at the night sky, and you'll see Sagittarius eternally aiming his arrow straight at the heart of the scorpion. Antares, the red star that glows like blood. It's more than a cosmic coincidence. The archer and the scorpion are opposites in every sense. Light and dark, summer and winter, rebirth and death. For 2,000 years, the winter solstice has belonged to Sagittarius. As the archer rises in the pre-dawn hours, the darkness of Scorpius retreats. The days lengthen, the light returns. Sagittarius, then, becomes not only the slayer of shadows, but the herald of hope. But in some traditions, Sagittarius wasn't always so benevolent. To the Chaldeans, he was a war god, fierce and vengeful, and perhaps rightly so. A hunter is never without danger. Light can be blinding, just as darkness can be comforting. It depends on where you stand, and in a world where myth was law, even hope could be double-edged. Still, Sagittarius has long been seen as a fortunate sign, ruled by Jupiter, planet of wisdom, expansion, and abundance. It's a sign of travelers, seekers, philosophers, those who look not just at the stars, but beyond them. In the ancient world, Sagittarius ruled over lands of myth and mystery, Crete, Latium, and Trinacria. The island once shaped like a three-legged goddess. He was the bearer of the southwest wind, the harbinger of harvests, and even known as Dionysidus, the star of Diana, the wild goddess of moonlight and mystery. So when you next look to the night sky and see that graceful archer, know that he's not just a centaur. He's a keeper of legends, a light bringer, a traveler between worlds. He reminds us that darkness does not last forever. The archer draws his bow, and with it, releases the dawn. Thanks for listening, and join us next time as we follow the stars to the Capricorn. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow Mythic Cosmos. Until next time, keep looking up. The myths are written in the stars.